Hello, mappers, and welcome to episode 1 of Alternate Future of the World. For starting out, we're going to start out with the Ukraine and Russia war. So, as you all know, Ukraine and Russia are currently in a war, and to start us, we're going to draw what we think that will look like in the future. So, starting out, Ukraine are currently doing pretty well in the war. They're pushing, you know. So, Ukraine are, well, I messed it up. I'll have to fix that later. But Ukraine, they're pushing into Russia currently. And it's kind of a stalemate right now, but there's a lot of drone warfare, so Ukraine's kind of getting a little bit of an advantage. But Ukraine is going to start pushing in the south due to their drone warfare, and they're going to kind of try to make their way over to Crimea. Now, Russia doesn't like this, so they're going to push back, but Ukraine has the drone warfare, and they've destroyed Russia's stuff before Russia can even get to it. Now, there's so much drone warfare happening in the Crimean Peninsula that place really has no purpose to Russia anymore. So when Ukrainian troops begin to enter into Crimea, Russia tries to hold on to it, but there's no real infrastructure, and they can't really practice guerrilla warfare because it's a giant plain, and there's no structures or anything because it's just absolutely devastated. So Ukraine will just push and push and push, and right now it's currently looking like Ukraine will win the war. And if you're a Ukraine supporter, which I assume you are, that's a good thing. Russia is like, oh my God, how are we losing? Because because Ukraine is like a 30th or like a 20th the size of Russia. So Ukrainian forces will push further into Crimea, and Russian forces that are remaining are going to have to Dunkirk style evacuate from here and over there. So, all of the Crimean Peninsula will be captured by Ukraine, and they're going to keep pushing. And at this point, Putin's like, okay, we have to really stick it to these Ukrainians. This is bad. So what Russia's going to do is they're going to do some heavy enlistment, and I'm like the biggest enlistment that they've done since World War II. And they're going to push. They're going to start pushing Ukraine back where they were. And their goals. I had them right here, but they were like these two provinces, and then they also wanted these two as well. Ukraine is going to almost get that far. They're actually getting like really close. They're going to try and retake Crimea too, but it doesn't work very well because Ukraine will just push right back out. And they'll start trying to push into Kiev like they did sometime. It's like they were doing last year, and so they start trying to push in the north as well, and kind of on all sides. And at the time being, it's looking really, really bad for Ukraine. Like Ukraine's like, oh no, well what we did might have just not been enough, and Ukraine's getting genuinely kind of scared. And then it stops. The Russian replacements just stop coming in. And that's because, well, a lot of Russia is breaking out in open rebellion. For example, Karelia, Krasnodar, Ossetia, Chechnya, Dagestan, they're all breaking out in active rebellion. So they have to take out troops and deal with these guys. So Ukraine, they can start pushing back again. And push back they do because, I kid you not, they're kicking Russia almost. I'll have to increase my size a little bit in this one, but they'll push Russia completely out of the southern area. They're just going to push all the way out, and they're going to keep going, and nothing's stopping them. Really, really, just nothing is stopping Ukraine in this instance. I'm just going to clean this up because it looks bad now. Yeah, nothing is stopping Ukraine. They're even pushing Russia back out, and they're starting to go into Russian territory because Ukraine's just starting to push Russia out of the north too, starting to push into Russian territory. Ukraine is pushing out, and Russia says, "All right, stop. We'll do some peace talk because they've kind of reached a stalemate here because they can't really push because they're just so fortified by Russia. But that's about as far as either of them are getting. They're kind of locked in a stalemate, and well, we sit down to peace deals. So the peace deal is going to be." And the peace deal looks something like this. So 2 new states are carved out. The Donetsk and Luhansk states are carved out right here. And because Russia was like, well, we'll pull out, just give us these 2 states. And Ukraine was like, no, we can keep pushing. We're not allowed to have those states. So Russia was like, fine. Neither of us get them. Ukraine was able to get back Crimea, but they couldn't get these 2 states. Russia said it was Crimea or these, and like, fine. So they took Crimea. neither side benefited. I mean, Russia is extremely unstable, extremely destroyed. Ukraine lost some territory, but in the end, Ukraine's just proud that they could stand up to what they thought was one of the most powerful countries in the world, like maybe top five. Kind of showed that Russia might not be top five after all. So, moving on from that, Russia also has a lot of secessionist movements going on right now, especially in the lower Caucasus, as I've highlighted here. So, well, they'll start to break out an open rebellion, like Ossetia. Ossetia, South Ossetia in Georgia, and North Ossetia, which is in Russia, just going to unify together and just in open rebellion just break out. And after this, Dagestan will break out in rebellion too. Because Dagestan, they're not Russian, they're Dage, or whatever you call them. Chechnya will break out too, and the Krasnodar cry because seeing all this, they're like, we haven't been independent in a long time. Why don't we get a chance at independence too? And after all this independence done here, Karelia as well was like, hey, you guys can't be independent without me. So Karelia, so these states are all breaking out in active rebellion. And what'll happen is Putin gets deposed. Putin is assassinated. Then there's like a gap in leadership. And the new leader is a lot less nationalistic. He's more looking to rebuild the nation. So, yeah. So he doesn't try and go back and kill like these new nations. He won't try and invade them. He'll just say, hey, you guys can just be independent and hopefully we can work together in the future. And this is new for the rest of the world because Russia just letting their states go, that never happens. So secessionism is on the rise because after seeing this, the secessionist movements, as I've outlined in these areas, are also looking to leave. Now, all across the world, from Hungarian movements in the Balkans to Quebec is starting to gain traction to Tibet and Xinjiang in China, they're all looking for more independence. But specifically, the ones in Western Europe are mostly looking to secede. And what will happen is their governments are like, because I highlighted them because they're popping out in active rebellion, but they'll be able to suppress them for the time being, but they're certainly gaining traction and a lot of influence and power is being pressed in these countries. Like, you got to stop rebelling. But the next thing that goes on is down here in the Balkans, Kosovo. And now Kosovo is not independent. They're a rebellious area of Serbia. It has them here as independent, but that's just where I got the map from. Um, and Kosovo and Serbia, they're not on the best terms because Kosovo wants to leave Serbia. Serbia wants to keep Kosovo. But seeing all this independence in Russia, a dictatorial, corrupt nation, Serbia also happens to be a dictatorial, corrupt nation. And Kosovo's like, well, if they can leave Russia, I can leave you. So Kosovo's like, all right, we're done. We're out of here. You can't control us anymore. And Serbia says, yes, we can, because you are a part of us. And Kosovo says, no. And they secede. They're like, they formally declare their independence. They go and they start marching into Kosovo. And, it's not like it's not good for Kosovo. Kosovo, they're just falling quickly because Kosovo is weaker than Serbia. They're quickly stall. And you know who doesn't like this? Albania. Albania isn't like that. So Albanian troops, because Kosovo and Albania, they're both Albanian people. So they have history together. So Albania will go into Kosovo and be like, hey, we'll help you out. So they're going to start pushing back, and Kosovo will actually start making gains in Serbia. And I'll increase my size a little bit here, but Kosovo will just start really start pushing into Serbia. And Serbia's like, okay, we're sorry. You can have your independence. So what'll happen is they don't give Kosovo just this. What they'll give them is they'll give Kosovo this because there's a lot of Serbian minority around here. So Kosovo is like, fine, we'll take it because they just really want their independence and to get out of Serbia. So Kosovo is officially getting their independence, and Kosovo was the last straw for these other nations. These nations, Spain, the UK, they all have their own independence movements, and suddenly a lot of nations press for independence. And I'm talking Catalonia declares their independence. Galicia declares their independence. Or that's not the right color. Let's do like a dark yellow. Poop yellow. Yeah. Galicia declares their independence. The Basque country declares their independence. Scotland declares their independence. And I'll have to fill that in. I'll fill that in just a sec. Wales declares their independence. Wales declares their independence, and Northern Ireland declares their independence. So all these countries have declared their independence. The United Kingdom really, really does not like that because the United Kingdom, these have all been a part of the United Kingdom for a long time. So the United Kingdom doesn't really know how to handle this. And the United Kingdom just is losing all their constituent countries and they don't know how to, yeah, it's bad for the UK. All these countries are leaving the United Kingdom. But that's where we'll leave it off for today. Independence in Western Europe and Russia, the end to the Russo-Ukrainian War, and Kosovo gaining its official independence. So thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe so I can post a second